I guess the reason for the disconnect is that sometimes the people who understandably want to get the economy up and running have been saying things that contradict what some of the people who are health experts in the administration are saying. For instance, at the end of February, Dr. Nancy Messonnier, who apparently got in the doghouse for saying in a conference call, doghouse with President Trump, for saying in a conference call that it was not a matter of if, but when there would be a severe disruption to the American people and our way to live life. And that's the same day, as you know, that you said this. Let's roll that tape.
We have contained this, I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight. We've done a good job in the United States.
So I guess the question is there a disconnect between what people such as you who want things to be better than they are so as to help the economy are saying and what people in the health field are saying?
Well, look, Jake, for the umpteenth time, I will say my quote then was based on the actual facts, which at the time there were only 40 or 50 cases, and it was contained, particularly after President Trump boldly put up travel restrictions with China. That's what I didn't make a forecast so far, and that was just there was hardly any cases. Okay, now, yes, some doctors were more fearful. Other doctors had many different things to say. I don't want to get in and play this game, who said what and when. Political leaders, one well-known political leader in the House went to Chinatown in San Francisco and said everything is okay. Okay, one important anchor on your network as late as mid-March said basically the COVID-19 virus was no worse than an ordinary flu year. I mean, there are people saying, my quote was, at that time, there were very few cases. Then, as the virus spread exponentially in ways that virtually no one could have predicted, of course, we changed our mind.
If Larry Kudlow shows up on national television telling you to bet on black, you bet on red. Larry Kudlow is the guy who defended the housing bubble in 2005, calling those who warned that housing prices would come crashing down, bringing down the economy and the entire stock market with them, quote, dead wrong, only to watch that exact thing happen in 2008. He's the guy who, in 2007, attacked former chairman of the Fed, Alan Greenspan, for predicting a recession, even though within 6 months we'd be in that very recession. And so now, given his litany of successes in predicting the future, Larry Kudlow is yet again defending himself after claiming in February that the virus was contained, quote, pretty close to airtight, only to watch cases balloon from 57 on that day to 1.2 million now. Kudlow's defense here is that there were only 40 or 50 cases when he said that, but the whole point here is that there were only 40 or 50 known cases because this administration was refusing to test people. In other words, Kudlow is using erroneous statistics that his administration was responsible for making erroneous. The issue for months has been that the administration has dropped the ball with regard to testing, and that is an issue that continues to this very day. Kudlow goes on to dig in his heels that it was contained, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if it was contained, it would have been contained. Instead, it continued to spread exponentially. So I'm not sure what Larry Kudlow thinks the definition of contained is, but at no point in the outbreak did the number of cases ever go down or even stay constant. They only went up. And they went up exponentially. So unless Kudlow thinks that the numbers on Monday were contained until the numbers on Tuesday came in, nothing about what he's saying makes any sense. Kudlow even pretends that no one predicted the virus would spread exponentially, except every epidemiologist did predict that the virus would spread exponentially because almost all respiratory viruses spread exponentially. That is how they spread. So not only is he misstating the positions of epidemiologists, he's also misstating science as a whole. And of course, rather than acknowledge his glaring and frankly dangerous inability to take responsibility for his misinformation, Kudlow points to what else but the China ban. And for the umpteenth time, A, this was not a ban, it was a travel restriction that still allowed 40,000 people into the United States from China. B, virtually none of the people who did come back were tested in airports. They were screened, and given the fact that you can be asymptomatic and still carry the virus, I'll let you guess how effective those screenings were. And C, it clearly didn't work. We have the most cases and the most deaths of any country in the world. It's like bragging about how well your sprinkler system worked while standing next to a building that burned to the ground. So Trump and his surrogates can pretend that this China ban was some brilliant life-saving measure, but reality tells a vastly different story. Here's the thing, forget Larry Kudlow's revisionist history. It's not that this administration had to change course when better information came out, it's that this administration never accepted factual information because it was politically inconvenient. They opted to pretend that the virus wasn't serious because they wanted to defer to the stock market instead, and Trump was worried more cases would make him look bad. He literally refused to let a cruise ship with sick Americans aboard dock for that very reason, and then admitted it.
I would rather, because I like the numbers being where they are. I don't need to have the numbers double because of one ship. That wasn't our fault.
So Larry Kudlow and the rest of this administration can do their best to rewrite history, but the fact is that every other country in the world was operating with the same information as us. And yet we're the ones with the most cases in the world. We're the ones with the most deaths in the world, and we're the ones with a government who thought it'd be more politically advantageous to bury their heads in the sand and cross their fingers that it would just go away. That's not a coincidence, it is direct cause and effect, and the responsibility lies squarely with this administration.